Wholesaling real estate can be a very lucrative strategy for those of you who are interested in getting into the real estate investing side of things. And there are three beauties of it. One, you don't have to have your realtor's license. Two, you don't have to take on a lot of unnecessary risk. And three, you don't have to have a lot of upfront cash. But what is real estate wholesale? Well, we're going to be talking about all of that and more, and I'm going to give you some tips and strategies that I use to wholesale real estate in the video coming up. If you are interested in becoming a licensed real estate agent through Real Estate Express, I've posted the link to the website in the description below, and it'll take you directly to the portal where you can then sign up and purchase your course. Thank you and enjoy the video. What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. For those of us who haven't met yet, my name is Caleb Cowden with Cowden Solutions Investing, and this channel is about entrepreneurship and everything real estate. So if that interests you, this channel is dedicated to giving you quality content on those topics, and that way we can learn how to be better entrepreneurs for ourselves, to accumulate wealth and live the lives that we've always intended to. So with that being said, let's get right into it. The topic of today is wholesaling real estate. Now, I mean, it's a very popular trend. It's been around for a long time. A lot of people talk about it, but not many people understand what it is and how easy it is to get into, especially for a beginner. I think that's honestly the most appealing part about wholesaling, is it is so beginner friendly. And like I said in the introduction, the main reason why it's so beginner friendly, you don't have to get a license and it's very low risk. And the best part is you don't have to have a lot of upfront capital. That's the main thing that I think that stops most people from pursuing any kind of real estate investment is capital. And guys, I'm here to tell you, don't let that stop you. Don't let that hinder you. This is a way where we can get our foot in the door to where we can build up to the point that we can one day purchase an actual property and flip it and turn it ourselves with our own capital, our name on the title. But real estate wholesale is a really cool way to get around that to start. So essentially, in a nutshell, what it is me as a wholesaler, I'm trying to lock properties up and get them under contract. Essentially, I'm not flipping the house. I know that's a common misconception. We're not purchasing the home. We don't own the home. What we do own, however, is equitable interest in the property. And because we own equitable interest, due to the fact that we have it under contract, gives us the right to market that property to other investors. So in a sense, I'm buying a home at a super deep discount, and I'm then in turn, instead of flipping the house, I'm flipping the contract that I have equitable interest in to another investor. So how that would work is, what I do is I get online every day, every morning before work, and I start scouring the internet. Since I don't have my real estate license yet, I am working on getting that though. It will be super helpful. I have to use other resources other than the MLS to find my leads. So leads is what you want as a wholesaler. You want to get on like Redfin. I use Redfin every day. I like it specifically because it breaks down price per square foot, which you'll find out in a later video why that's important for a wholesaler to be able to run your CMAs and determine ARV and stuff like that. So you get on Redfin or Zillow or Realtor.com, Trulia, whatever app that you find is the most helpful to you to find properties. Filter your search results. Make it easier on yourself. Look at the particular market that you're trying to sell to. So for me, I market in DFW. So I'll take anything from far north Dallas all the way out to Melissa and Anna. And I'll go as far as Rockwall and maybe up to Prosper. So you look in your search radius and you find homes that are listed below market value. That's the key here. Below market value is key. And the reason why is because you're trying to filter out the more motivated seller. A motivated seller is a wholesaler's best friend, and a wholesaler is a motivated seller's best friend. A lot of people say, oh man, you're taking advantage of people. That's not what us wholesalers are about. I like to think of myself as a problem solver. Somebody has an issue. Let's say they just recently got divorced and they want to get rid of their house. It's a huge headache for them. They don't necessarily want to get maximum value on it. They just want to be done with it so that they can move on with their life. So then what do they need? They need a cash buyer. They need somebody who's willing to close fast and who's not going to get hung up with a bunch of financing and who doesn't really care if maybe the house isn't immaculate up to tip-top shape and conditions. You're also looking for houses that are more run down. Those are going to be key because what you're going to do is once you get that house at a lower price, you're going to turn around to your pipeline of investors, which as a wholesaler, you should have a few investors that are in your back pocket. That would look like, for example, my cousins, they own a house flipping construction company, and I market a lot of my homes to them. And what that would look like is, let's say I lock a property up and I get it under contract, we sign papers, everything's legit, I turn in earnest money to the title company, then I'm immediately getting on the phone with them and I'm saying, hey, I've got this house, this is the price that I'm going to sell it to you. So let's recap. I'm going to take you into my computer screen here, and I've got a couple slides that I went on ahead and pulled up for us. So I feel like sometimes I can tend to get off track, and I want to make sure that we're all on the same page when we begin here. So let's go ahead and check this out real quick. So we got the wholesaling real estate with Calden Solutions Investing LLC, and the next slide here is the card that I've got for our order of operations here. This is a step-by-step how to wholesale real estate from start to finish. So the first thing you're going to notice, the first bullet point is we're going to use all resources that are available to you, such as Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, etc. We're going to go in every single day. We're going to look through these sites and try to find homes that are listed for under market value, thus bringing us to the second bullet point. Make sure you focus on distressed properties. Under market value listed properties, I can't stress that enough. You're going to have a lot of frustrating circumstances in trying to get houses under contract for super discounted rates when you're targeting sellers that are not as motivated as others. So if they have their house listed kind of right at market value or a tad over, those aren't going to be the sellers that you really want to try to target. You want to try to target for sale by owners are a really good one to try to target, but if you can't, don't worry about that. You can find wholesale properties or properties that qualify to wholesale on market. And you don't always have to look off market. Most people say you can't find good deals on market. Yes, you can, and I've done it. So the third bullet point here, send out offers. And it sounds bad, guys, but when I say lowball for earning maximum earning potential, that's what you got to do. You've got to give yourself some negotiating room. Give yourself some playroom. If you know you've done your math on this property and you know you want to buy in at $250,000, you're not going to come in and the first offer you shoot is going to be $250,000. They're going to counter you and you're just going to go up from there. So what you're going to want to do is to try to come in at 220, maybe 215 or 225, and then give yourself. Now you've got. If you come in at 225 with your first offer, you've got $25,000 in negotiating room. You know that your maximum allowable offer, which is your MAO, which brings us to bullet point 4, you are going to lock down that property by getting it under contract below what your maximum allowable offer is. Your maximum allowable offer in this case is 250. So you started at 225, you landed somewhere in the middle. No, you cannot lock that property in for any more than $250,000. Preferably you want it less because, guys, the lower you get under your MAO, the bigger the wholesale fee you'll collect. Because the reason we can't go above that MAO is there has to be profit in it for the investors, and you're starting to eat into their margins, and they're not going to like that. So That brings us to bullet point 5. Use your option period to aggressively market your contract to your investors. Generally, an option period is anywhere from 7 to 10 days. This is your key time as a wholesaler to try to get that property assigned. If you can't get that property assigned in your 10-day or 7-day option period, however many days your option period is, this is where the low risk point that I made earlier in the video comes into play. There is little to no risk in this, guys, because if you do lock down a property, don't be afraid that you're going to have to be accountable for all $250,000 worth at the closing table. Because if you can't get that property assigned or that contract assigned to an investor within that option window, you have the liberty to back out or terminate that contract for any reason whatsoever during your option period. And in some cases, most cases actually, you get your earnest money refunded. During your option period, your earnest money is it's soft. It hasn't gone hard yet. And when it goes hard, that means it's no longer refundable. That happens after your option period has ended, and now the house is officially getting title work done. You're in escrow. So if you can't market it and you can't get it assigned during that 10-day option, before that option period ends, you must back out. That way you lose nothing, you get your money back, you move on to the next property. But if you do happen to find an investor within that 10-day window, go ahead and assign that contract, and then you're off the hook. You don't have to bring any money to the closing table. They'll take care of it. So that brings us to bullet point 6. Assign your contract for a slightly higher price than what you bought in for. As I've said prior, if you bought in, let's say your MAO was $250, and let's say negotiations didn't quite go the way you wanted them to. You bought in at $245,000. You can't go higher than $250. So it sounds like $245 is it only leaves you a $5,000 margin, which honestly, that's a pretty decent margin. I would never go any lower than 5, but that's still a win. So what you would do then is turn around, and when you assign that contract to your investor, they're buying it for $250. So that way, brings us down to bullet point 7, when you submit all documents to the title company and wait to go to closing, once that house closes, bullet point 8, you collect your wholesale fee. Your wholesale fee in this case would be $5,000. So, in a nutshell, that's wholesaling. That's basically what it is. $5,000 at a time, guys. If you could do multiple of these in a month, I mean that's over a 6-figure income any day. So I stand by the fact, and I stress the fact that wholesaling is most people would not say it's in a form of investing because you're not putting anything into it, and that's where they're wrong. You might not be putting in money, a whole lot of money to get into something and invest it, but you are investing something. You're investing your time, and you're investing your knowledge, your know-how, because you're not only solving a problem for the sellers, but you're also solving a problem for the investors. The reason why we're so valuable is because investors are usually busy, one, running their company or out in the field managing their builds. Whatever goes into running a house flipping company, they're doing that. And when they're doing that, they can't be at home on the computer doing what you're doing for hours of the day. So in a sense, we're creating value for ourselves because while they're doing their thing, we're sitting at home shooting out offers. We're getting offers, we're negotiating, we're getting contracts locked up. Whatever we have to do to get a contract that is assignable to our investor, we're doing all the hunting for them. All they do is come and inspect the property during our option period and decide whether or not this works for them. Don't worry, if they say it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is terminate the contract, move on to the next one. No harm, no foul. You can't take it personally. It's going to happen. It's got to work for both you, your investor, and the seller. Well, guys, I hope this video was informative, and hopefully you learned a little bit more about wholesaling. And if you want to get into it, I'll be putting out more content on this topic in the future. But guys, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I really do appreciate the support that you as my viewers give me. It helps build the channel so I can keep producing content like this for into the future. So thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.
See you again.